Okay, can we be real for a second? The world feels incredibly heavy right now. Between the polarizing political landscape, global conflicts that seem to escalate every time you refresh your feed, and a constant stream of once-in-a-generation events happening every Tuesday, it's objectively a scary time to be alive. It's not just in your head. The news cycle is genuinely more volatile and high stakes than it's been in decades. It feels like we're all living inside a historical documentary that we never auditioned for. Because of that, you're likely sitting on your couch at 11:30 p.m., and though you told yourself you'd be asleep an hour ago, you're 4 miles deep into a thread about a legislative shift or a geopolitical move that feels like the end of the world. Your thumb is twitching, your pupils dilated. You feel a strange, buzzing dread in your chest, a cocktail of the world is ending and I need to know exactly how it ends. You've officially entered the doom scroll spiral. Your body is physically in a comfortable living room, but your mind is currently patrolling a high-tension border half a world away. You aren't informed, and you aren't a responsible global citizen. You are currently a victim of headline hypervigilance, also known as mean world syndrome. It's the paralyzing belief that because you have a front row seat to every tragedy on Earth, the entire planet is a burning dumpster fire. Welcome to the truth about news addiction, and why your brain treats a push notification like a literal tiger jumping through your window. In the world of evolutionary psychology, your brain is a survival machine, not a happiness machine. For 99% of human history, news was limited to, hey, there's a bear in that cave, or those berries made Greg turn inside out. This was essential information. If you didn't pay attention to that news, you didn't get to pass on your genes. Somewhere along the line, we took that survival instinct and hooked it up to a 24-hour fiber optic fire hose. Now, your brain views a political crisis 5,000 miles away as a proximal threat. Because your lizard brain can't distinguish between a distant war and a local predator, it keeps you in a state of high cortisol red alert. In a world where we crave safety, we've mistakenly identified knowing everything as a shield. We think that if we just read one more article, we'll finally understand the threat enough to feel safe. But knowledge without the power to act isn't safety. It's just vibrant, high-definition anxiety. You aren't just reading text. You're triggering a fight or flight response while eating a bowl of cereal, and your body has nowhere to send that adrenaline. Why can't you just put the phone down? It's not just a lack of willpower. It's a design choice. Your newsfeed is built on the variable reward schedule, the same psychological trick used in slot machines. You scroll through 10 boring posts to find one terrifying one. That spike of fear or anger releases a hit of dopamine. The algorithms have figured out that outrage is engagement. A story about a local puppy rescue doesn't keep you on the app for 40 minutes. But a story about a political rival saying something unforgivable, that'll keep you typing in the comments until 2 a.m. We are living in an attention economy, and fear is the highest valued currency. You aren't the customer of those news apps, you're the product being sold to advertisers, and your anxiety is the hook that keeps you on the shelf. Your brain is being hacked by teams of PhDs whose entire job is to make sure that you never feel informed enough to close the tab. Here's where the psychology gets sticky. For many news junkies, the compulsion isn't about being happy. It's about the illusion of control. This is the irrational belief that if you stop reading, the bad thing will happen because you looked away. It's like a sports fan who thinks wearing their lucky socks helps the team score, or a passenger who thinks that by staring intensely at the wing of the plane, they're somehow keeping it in the air. This is a classic case of catastrophizing. Your brain takes a single tragic data point and treats it like a mathematical certainty. You aren't just checking the weather, you're managing a perceived existential emergency. This fear causes you to seek out more news to find a solution. But because that news is designed to highlight problems, you only find more fuel. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of psychological exhaustion. You're trying to extinguish a fire by throwing more burning paper on top of it, wondering why it's getting hotter. Just like the spotlight effect that we talked about with social anxiety, even farting anxiety, we have a moral spotlight when it comes to the news. You feel a crushing sense of guilt if you don't know about every injustice. You think that because you have the access to information, you have a biological mandate to carry the emotional weight of it. You feel like if you don't witness the tragedy, you're somehow complicit in it. But human empathy wasn't built to scale to 8 billion people. It's a finite resource. You have a bucket of empathy, and the news cycle is trying to pour an ocean into it. When you try to care about everything, you end up having compassion fatigue. The point where your brain just shuts down because the emotional bill is too high to pay. You don't become more helpful, you just become more numb. Furthermore, news cycles rely on the availability heuristic. This is a mental shortcut where your brain thinks that because a tragedy is easy to remember, thanks to 500 notifications, it must be happening everywhere all the time. You're terrified of a world that is, despite the headlines, often much more boring and stable than the one your phone is describing. You're suffering from a glitch in your perception, where the loudest story feels like the only story. The truth is, the world is a chaotic, messy, beautiful, and occasionally terrifying place. But it's a place you have to actually live in, not just watch from behind a piece of glass. Now, to navigate this information war, consider these. First, understand the dopamine loop. Every time you see a breaking news banner, your brain gets a hit of novelty. It's addictive. By setting news windows, say 20 minutes in the morning and 20 at night, you take back the remote control of your own nervous system. Secondly, embrace the local logic. We call this the circle of influence. If you can't influence it, don't obsess over it. Direct your energy toward things you can actually change, like your neighborhood, your job, and what's for dinner. Helping one person in real life is worth more than knowing about 1,000 people in a news crawl. Third, go analog. Read a long-form book or a physical magazine. The medium is the message. Digital news is designed to be fast and frantic. Paper is designed to be finished. And finally, use silence as a shield. The power of the news comes from its noise. By muting the world for a few hours, you prove that you had the stability to exist without a constant feed. You aren't ignorant, you're selective. Here's a pro tip. Your body has incredibly sophisticated stress sensors. If your neck is tight, your jaw is clenched, and your heart is racing while you read an article, that's your hardware telling you that it's time to close the tab. Trust your hardware. It's been evolving for millions of years to keep you alive. It knows when the bear isn't real. So the next time you feel that panic scroll coming on, don't treat it like a duty. Treat it like what it is. A sign that your brain is hungry for a sense of safety that a screen can't provide. We're all part of the grand human story. Sometimes it's a tragedy, sometimes it's a comedy, and occasionally it's just a long, boring documentary about people trying their best. But it's never a reason to stop living your own life. Life is too short to spend it as a data point for some algorithm that wants you angry. You aren't a doom monger, you're a caring person who just forgot where the off switch was. So put the phone down. Look out a literal window. Go talk to a neighbor, even the one with the weird political yard signs. You'll find that the world outside, while definitely weird, is usually a lot quieter and more human than the one in your pocket. If this look into the heavier side of the internet helped you put things in perspective, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here where we talk about the stuff that keeps us up at night, actually staying up all night. I'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded, and for the love of your sanity, keep the volume down.